I know the world can be a dark place. War, famine, disease, amateur musical theater. There's a lot out there that can really bring it down. But I hate to tell you that it's just gotten a lot worse as the greatest crime against humanity, illegal war crime, international law has been violated by the CBC, as they have killed all of comedy. It's gone. It's dead. There's no coming back from this one. And listen, I know what we're talking about. We're talking this hour has 22 minutes, went to go to Pierre Poilievre to just be generally hilarious, apparently. Now, this isn't the traditional rant. Like, no one needs me to make the rant. Like, they're the opposition to the opposition. They should be making fun of the people in power, blah, 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 political bias. No one needs that rant. I've made the rant. Anyone who wants to hear that rant has heard that rant before. We don't need to do the unoriginal things. I'm simply going to just mourn the loss of people doing things that are funny. Because one of the complaints that we used to have as the right is, oh my God, the left has the culture. They are making people laugh and driving the narrative. They can't even do that anymore. No one's laughing. We're just watching these pathetic losers getting paid six figures of our taxpayer dollars to go and harass Pierre Poilievre for the likes. But I have a different take than anyone else. You've known me. I've wanted the CBC defunded for years. I've said whatever I want to, but I've now changed pace. I am now against the complete defunding of the CBC, and I've changed my opinion, and I want the CBC to continue forever because I think we can kill two birds with one stone, and we have to watch and then break down just what happens in this. This hour has 22 minutes clip, so I'm going to skip to where it actually starts. Like 40 seconds.
I tried to get Pierre to notice me by playing it cool, but I did have to stand in line with my fellow patriots.
Wow, Pierre Poilievre, such an honor to meet. My name is Dan. I'm with 22 Minutes. It's so nice to meet you. Canada's next Prime Minister and laser eye surgery success story. Congratulations. I think you're doing an amazing job. If it was up to me, you'd be the leader of the opposition for the rest of your life.
I'm going to take you there. So those are the two jokes he had written. So they had two jokes written for, I don't know how many hundreds of thousands of dollars they spent on this, but the entire writers team came up with two jokes. And the first one was basically, you're an ugly loser nerd, but you're not as ugly as you used to be. You used to wear glasses, but like then you got like laser eye surgery, or now you're wearing contacts, but we know you're a four eyes nerd. Okay. The reason why I want to keep the CBC, it's like, you got to choose the villain you're going up against. Like, if you have a choice to go up against a villain, do you want to go against Hannibal Lecter from Silence of the Lambs or Team Rocket from Pokemon? Right? If there's going to be a media that hates us and his job is trying to undermine us, do you want them to, every time they try and do something like Evil Dan, or is this Good Dan? I don't know. One of the Dans is doing now. He's going to end this and go blasting. You're going to see. He ends this thing, but literally, oh no, CBC is blasting off again. That literally happens here. So they can't even do an attack right. Because if you want to attack someone, right, and you're playing comedy, you have to be seen as a sympathetic thing. You can't go in throwing haymakers like, ah, ha, ha, you're ugly. And then the second written joke is, oh, I hope you're leader of the opposition forever, which is unoriginal. Like, that's a standard political joke. Like, Winston Churchill probably made a joke like that, almost 100 years ago. This is what your taxpayer dollars are funding. So let's go on.
Well, I won't be, sadly for you and your. But you know what? You'll have to earn a living rather than getting it from taxpayers' money.
I love that you're cracking down on crime.
I'll say, do you notice the cut there? It's interesting that they cut out his reaction to that. Now, was Poilievre perfect on that? No, but like, this is what politicians are trying to do. Like, this is how you win. Like, Poilievre just has to like not freak out and say the N-word. Like, that's how he wins this. Like, when you get bombarded and attacked, standing in line to meet people, and then someone comes in to attack, the only way you lose that is by losing your cool. If you don't lose your cool, you win. And if you do lose your cool, you lose. And usually people don't air stuff where they don't make the person lose their cool. Sometimes people air that, and they're like crazy people, like lunatics, like, I'm going to go and I talked to Pierre and asked him, like, do you know about the deep state? And do you know the queen is still alive and she's fake and she's gay and she's black with a man? And Poilievre goes, I what? And then I got him, right? That's what crazy people do. These are crazy people. So it's pretty funny. He goes, he cuts, he gets back, he gets kicked out. He's going to go back in again. This is, I mean,
All right. I love that you're cracking down on murderers, thieves, CBC journalists. I love that you're cracking down on axing the tax.
That's why your ratings are so terrible.
All right, my friend.
No, I think that's
see, that's pretty great. Then Pierre actually got a good one off him because he just goes in a social diatribe of like, this is what I like that you're cracking down on crime, because he's making fun of him, because he's like, everyone knows crime isn't real. People should be allowed to steal cars. Like, haha, this lunatic thinks that the car thief, the international billion-dollar crime syndicate of car theft in our cities, that's just a joke. And then you're also cracking down on CBC journalists. Well, you've already established how he's cracking down. It's to defund. This isn't like a Gestapo type, like, we're not going to allow journalism to do journalism anymore. Right? You've already set it out there. Right? And then he got back, like, this is why you're going to get defunded. Like, this is why your rating's so low. That's a good comeback from Poilievre. And then he comes back with, oh, no, that's just Heartland, which is, I guess, the one that like normal people in Saskatchewan and Alberta watch.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Pierre. We love you, Pierre.
Okay, thank you. Just come up this way. You're done.
Getting snubbed by my hero was the greatest moment of my life. So I decided to get back in line and do it again.
I'm happy to wait and just, cross my fingers, I guess.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to have to just monitor our timing.
Mr. Poilievre, me again. We've got a lot of big questions for you. We want to know, what is your least favorite province? And could we save money by sinking PEI into the sea?
I think we could save money by spending $1 billion less on terrible comedians
Absolutely.
and propagandists from the PMO.
Your critics are saying that your policies are far right, even authoritarian. How will you stamp out that dissent when you're prime minister?
Okay. This is why I'm kind of sad for comedy, but this is also why I want to keep the CBC. So you notice that they're all dismissive on crime and how's Poilievre going to crack down on crime? And it's pretty hard to change the entire system, okay? It's pretty hard to change the entire criminal justice system. Canada's a country where I can go outside right now, burn down 2 or 3 churches on a live stream, then a good killing spree, 7 to 8 people. That's what, 3 years, 7 months in jail in like a healing lodge somewhere. This is why we need the CBC. I decree that what we should do with the CBC is keep it. But in prisons, in Canadian prisons, you do not get cable television. You do not get Netflix, Amazon Prime. The only thing you have on tablets in every single room is CBC Gem. It's free anyway, right? So the prisons have to pay for it. You have to watch CBC Gem. You get this guy, Dan, should be paid $100,000, keep his salary in perpetuity, forever, to do his best as a comedian to make the best content he is capable of. And considering no one watches it, we should mandate that it is watched in all federal prisons, therefore establishing some form of deterrence towards committing crimes in Canada. Because if you're going to steal a bunch of cars and maybe you just spend, 2 months in prison for like 80,000 auto thefts, well, now you have to go, and your 2 months of prison, you will be tortured the entire time with the CBC. So it's like, 2 months in prison, but 2 months in solitary confinement where you're tortured every day. That's a bit of a crazy thing. So that's why we need the CBC. No more healing lodges, no more minimum security prison. Everything is a minimum security prison. Just keep them in, and every room should have CBC Gem playing all day, every day. And that's how we are going to fix this crime wave, because we're not going to get the judges and the entire legal system to be like, oh, all of a sudden crime is now illegal. No, they're all woke lunatics, especially in the cities. Instead, we must fix them from on top and put a tablet, and we call it an equity. The CBC has an equity DEI ESG score. I'm sure it's the CBC's ESG score. It's like a billion, quadrillion, mazillion. So let's make our prisons more ESG compliant or whatever, and make sure that CBC Gem is playing in them all the time, so people can watch this and listen. It kind of controls it, because if you get rid of the CBC, all these anti-conservative woke journalists might go somewhere, might actually band together, and the competent ones might get something going and actually be funny again, and realize like the way that Jon Stewart and Stephen Colbert got people to laugh at politicians like this is they would go in, they knew how to, they had empathy. Like this guy, these CBC people have no empathy for the, don't understand what anyone could think. They're like, we tried to blend in, yay, carbon tax. Oh, I'm crazy, I'm conservative. Like, no, if you were actually funny, you could go in, mimic a somewhat crazy right-wing person, get a bunch of things wrong that kind of sound right, and then get Poilievre to sort of agree to that to shut you up. And then show Poilievre, haha, look, he's crazy. He even supports stupid things like wanting to, axe the tax on recycle or like whatever. Make him look like he got something wrong by you being crazy. That's how Stewart and Colbert used to do it. You can't even do it right, which is why I salute you, Evil Dan. You're doing the Lord's work. And my new position is CBC now, CBC forever, in all federal and provincial prisons. So you break the law. Yes, you go to jail for 15 minutes, but those 15 minutes will be spent, or at least, no, you'll no longer be going for jail for 15 minutes. It'll be at least a 22-minute sentence. I'm putting mandatory minimums. In Canada, when you go to jail, it has to be at least for 22 minutes. And you have to watch the CBC and learn your lesson and stop being such a bad guy.